Today, I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide of how to create this pumpkin spice latte syrup that you'll be able to make your very own pumpkin spice lattes with at home. And you'll be able to do it for a fraction of the cost of what your big coffee house will be able to sell it to you for. Let's get started. Okay, so the ingredients we will need to make our pumpkin pie spice syrup is 1/3 cup of pumpkin puree. I've used a canned pumpkin here. You could make your own if you wanted to, but this is a whole lot less hassle, and it really works out nicely. Whatever you have left after the recipe, you can keep in an airtight container in your fridge for about 2 weeks or so, and you can use it for other recipes. We'll need 1 tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. You could use the individual spices if you wanted to, of nutmeg, cinnamon, allspice, ginger, but it's a whole lot easier to just use the pre-mixed spice blend of pumpkin pie spice. 1 cup of granulated sugar, 1/2 cup of light brown sugar, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 cups of cold water, and then we're going to need cheesecloth to strain our syrup so that we get some of the pumpkin out, and a container to then put your pumpkin pie spice in that will store it in the fridge for up to 1 month. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do once we have all of our ingredients is we're going to take our pot that we are going to make our simple syrup in that has 1 cup of regular granulated sugar and 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And we're going to add to that our 2 cups of water. Make sure it's cold water. You want everything to heat up at the same time and dissolve naturally. We're just going to kind of whisk this together a little bit, and then as that heats, we're going to bring it to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to go ahead and lower the heat so that it goes back down to a simmer, so that we will be able to add the pumpkin, that will have the pumpkin spice, and then the vanilla extract, so that we will be able to finish our simple syrup to make our pumpkin spice latte syrup. Okay, so our sauce is starting to get to a boil here. It's getting close. Once we get it to a boil, we want to then let it cook a little bit until it thickens and everything's dissolved and it reduces slightly, just so it creates a nice simple syrup. And then once we do that, we will lower it down. That usually takes about 5 minutes. So we'll continue to get this to the state it needs to be in. When we get down to just about 3 minutes left, we'll go ahead and add our pumpkin puree and our pumpkin pie spice to this pan, and we're going to just heat it up for just a couple minutes to allow the spices to bloom and really mix in with the pumpkin, and then that way we'll also be a little bit tempered, so when we mix it in with the syrup, it won't become cloudy and it won't make a nasty mixture. It'll be a nice clear fluid. Okay, so we are at about the 3-minute mark. So once your mixture starts to boil, you just want to whisk it occasionally to keep anything from sticking to the bottom. But again, we want that to really boil and then reduce down just slightly. So while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and take my pumpkin puree. And this is just the canned kind, but again, you can make your own if you wish to do so. But I find that the canned pumpkin is just as good, and it's a heck of a lot easier. So we're going to go ahead and add that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. And we're just going to kind of mix this slightly so that, again, we can just heat it up a little bit so that we get the spices and the pumpkin to really blend and the spices to open up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave that. Turn that up a little bit. So we've got a good boil here. So again, you just want to whisk it occasionally. Nothing that you have to really babysit too much. And we just kind of want that to start to thicken and reduce down. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on time lapse while that's doing that for you. Okay, so now that our mixture has finished boiling and has reduced slightly, I went ahead and turned it down to low. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and add our pumpkin puree mixture. And we want to make sure that it is not boiling when we do this, because if it's boiling, your mixture will become cloudy. So we want to make sure that we mix this in and it's nice and hot and it's on low heat, but it's not going to boil. And we're going to cook this together for about 10 minutes. Okay, once we get all of the mixture out, Then we're just going to whisk this together. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and let this sit for about 10 minutes and cook, and I'll come back and show you how to finish this up. Okay, so now that our mixture has cooked together for about 10 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and add in the vanilla extract. It is now pulled off the heat. The reason we do this is the vanilla extract has a high alcohol content, and if we add it in when it's too hot, it's just going to evaporate and you're not really gonna get much of the flavor. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. Just do one more little whisk. Okay, so we're going to take our cheesecloth, and all I did was fold it over twice and put it over a metal strainer, and I'm going to strain it right into a measuring cup. That'll make it a little bit easier for me to put it into a airtight container, whether that's a mason jar. I'm going to use an old Tranny syrup bottle that is going to have a pump on the top, so I'll be able to dispense my pumpkin spice very quickly and easily for my lattes, whatever it may be. But we're going to put our cheesecloth on the strainer over the measuring cup, and then we're just going to take our mixture and we're going to strain it through here. And the reason we're doing this is we're just trying to strain out some of those extra pumpkin pieces. You really want a nice, smooth syrup that will go into our coffee nice and easily. You can also use this syrup on anything. It's great on ice cream. It's great in tea, anything like that. Sometimes you have to take a spoon and kind of help it out a little bit, just so it can get through the cheesecloth a little bit easier. Like I said, if you don't have any cheesecloth, you could use a really fine strainer. And really, if you don't mind that it's going to be a little bit thicker and may have a little bit of pumpkin pulp, you really don't need to do this step. But I like to strain it just so it's a little bit thinner syrup that I can then add to my milk and espresso. So I'll go ahead and put this on time lapse while that finishes straining for you. Okay, so I waited about 5 minutes. I went ahead and just walked away and did something else and let this go ahead and drain. But as you can see, we're left with some of the thicker sugar and some of the pumpkin puree, and we're going to go ahead and just throw that away. And it leaves us with about a cup and a half of the actual pumpkin pie latte syrup. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we bottle that, and then I'll show you how to make the latte. Okay, so now that I've gotten rid of my strainer, you can see that it is about a cup and a half. Let's see if I can get that to focus for you. Yep, cup and a half of liquid. So we're going to go ahead and put this in our container. Like I said, any lidded container could be a mason jar, anything like that, but this is an old Tranny syrup bottle that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with my pumpkin pie spice mix. This will keep for about a month in your fridge as long as it's in an airtight container. And then that way you'll be able to use it the whole month and make yummy pumpkin spice lattes. The wonderful thing about this is it doesn't have to be seasonal. If you're like me and you love everything pumpkin, you can do it in the spring, you can do it in the summer, whenever you want. You can make this pumpkin pie syrup and have that little taste of fall. Okay. And I actually think this is about just the right amount to fill up our bottle. The reason I love this old bottle is it has a pumper on it, so I will be able to kind of portion control my pumpkin spice as well. So I'll be able to just put a couple pumps of the syrup in there and we will be good to go. So let me show you how to make the latte. Okay, so now that I have my pumpkin spice latte syrup made, I'm going to show you how to go ahead and make a latte. I actually have a Starbucks Verismo machine, so that's how I make my espresso, but you can do any store-bought coffee. You can make a just stronger pull of it. If you have an espresso maker, that's great. If you have a stovetop one, those work well too. And then I have a milk frother and steamer, and I love this one. I got it on Amazon. If I'm able to, I'll put the link below. This is dishwasher safe, so you can actually put this whole thing in the dishwasher, and it can either just steam your milk or froth and steam your milk. So I love the frothing method because it go ahead and gave you a little bit of foam for the top. So we're going to go ahead and put this all together for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make my shot of espresso here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my espresso pot in. But first I'm going to add just a little bit of the pumpkin pie spice syrup that we made. I'm just going to do like 3 pumps or so. And then I have a cup of milk in here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this frothing. So that works really great. And I'll go ahead and put this on time lapse so you don't have to hear all the working mechanisms of the espresso maker and the frother, and I'll show you how we combine it all together. Okay, so my milk is done frothing and steaming, and it is nice and hot and has a nice layer of foam on the top. So I did 2 shots of espresso in with my pumpkin spice latte syrup. So I'm going to go ahead and pour in my milk. And I'm going to get all my foam. Okay. Now at this point, if you wanted, you could add a little bit of whipped cream. I'm actually going to just add a little bit of pumpkin pie spice to the top of mine for a little bit of garnishment. And there you have it. A yummy pumpkin spice latte at a fraction of the cost of what you can get for Starbucks or any other local coffee chain, Dunkin' Donuts, anything like that. Hope you enjoy. If you guys haven't subscribed, please do so. If you like the video, please give me the thumbs up, and I will catch you guys later. Thanks so much.